Alright guys, got a question for today's short. Now that the Nintendo Switch 2 is out, how long will it take before we consider the Nintendo Switch retro? I always love this topic because when I talk about the GameCube or the 360 or the Wii, I start calling them retro. People get so defensive, I guess is the best word for it. So the Nintendo Switch had a lengthy lifespan. It came out in 2017 and lasted a good 8 years. That's pretty wild. We'll just show off some games while we go through this. So 8 years is pretty long for a console. And, the question is, what makes a game console retro? Some people say if it's an HD console, then it can never be considered retro. Some people say, 2 generations back is retro. I don't know. Some people say, like, if it has online connectivity, then there's no way it can be retro. Like, I feel like it should be fluid, but for some people, there's a cutoff. Like, they say, the PS3 and the 360 can never be retro because they're just too far removed from what makes, an NES game an NES game, and what makes a 360 game a 360 game are just so far removed they can never be in the same breath. This is actually a pretty fun game. It's no Battle for Bikini Bottom, but I'm always down for some platformers. But with that in mind, like we said, it's already 8 years old. So my question is, by the time we hit 2030, if they're onto the Switch 3 or the Super Switch or something like that, and this is, let's just say the Switch is approaching 15 years old, and now we've got a Switch 2 and a Switch 3, or a Super Switch, or whatever they call it, would we start to look at the Switch as retro? If kids who grew up playing the Switch as their first console, if they're 18 or 19 years old and they're working and getting money and they try to build back their Switch collections they had as kids, are we going to start to call it retro like we did for the GameCube a few years back, like during the COVID boom? I'm just interested to get your guys' opinion. Will the Nintendo Switch ever be retro? And if it will, what is your cutoff for when it's retro? 20 years, 2 consoles, when the kids are old enough to start buying games for it? Let me know down below, guys. And we will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.